Thank you for having me today. Thank you, Pastor Greg and Lisa, for the introductions. I'm going to speak on something I'm learning, and it's still a work in progress, and that's in an academic sense. Last April, I went to Andalusia, Spain, primarily to see the Feria de Sevilla, the Alhambra, and places that are world-renowned for tourism, for something of a rich culture, and for me, it's part of the heritage I have from being of Mexican origin, and with generations in my name, there's nothing but all Spanish last names. So in going to this region, I was, marveling at the way the region had developed and the communities had been sustained and the way things were shown in terms of their preservation and history and culture. Took a lot of tours. And in this, a word popped out, and a word related to what all I saw. And that was, there was a period of golden age called the convivencia, or the coexistence. I hadn't really thought too much about that word or studied it, but what people were referring to was during the medieval ages, roughly from 1711, maybe some say from 711 or 750, up until that year, 1492, there was a period, supposedly, as most tour guides would say, when the Jews and the Christians and the Muslims lived harmoniously. Getting back to the U.S., I wanted to know more about convivencia, because I have been troubled by the lack of coexistence or partnering and co-sharing of life in other parts of the world that I've seen. So I started an exploration academically. And in the exploration, it was very troubling because there were ranges from the fact that this was a fabrication, a myth, that there was ever a coexistence between the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims from 1711 to 1492. But then on the other hand, there was some scholarship saying the real comparison is not necessarily from within, but to compare how those three peoples of religious differences and different ethnic origins lived as compared to others like them in other parts of the world. Professor Cohen at Princeton had done such an analysis and found that if you look at the Jews in the Ashkenazi Jews, which are in other parts of Europe, and how they coexisted with others, you would find that by comparison, the Jews lived much better, relatively speaking, in the Islamic world. So the curiosity became then, to what degree coexistence existed, and what did that mean? And this is where my exploration still is harboring or still going, because I'm also troubled by the question of coexistence today. Coexistence of people like me of Mexican descent, immigrant parents, and coexistence of other peoples who are coming to this nation, coexistence in a climate that's very dramatic with all kinds of charges of who's got a right to be here and all this. So I'm very concerned about this. Well, it's been shown that coexistence was probably better in the Islamic world for 3 or 4 apparent reasons. And I'm just going to mention these, not that I'm an expert. One is the theology. That if you look at the theological record and what people believe and what they profess, you will find some elements that contribute to coexistence. What was found and what people say is Christianity was never favorable to the Jews because the Jews were looked at as those who hung and crucified Jesus Christ. And those who were not Christian were either blasphemous or not to be trusted in any way. The second theological area was the Jewish compared to the Islamists. And the Islamists, because of Muhammad died a natural life many years. He wasn't persecuted or crucified. Muhammad was a trader, and that is in marketing, a merchant of goods. And Muhammad wrote in the Quran, which he was to receive spiritually through voices and angels, that he was believing that the Jews and the Christians all had the same basis of coming from Abraham. And where the difference lies was in the New Testament. The New Testament pointing to a difference in what kinds of things the Christians and probably more the Catholics believe. So in the religious area, there's some questions as to, the belief in one God is being upheld when there's the belief in the Trinity. Now, the other side of this was on the side of laws. Now, the Jews were, in a way, kind of suspicious of the Moors moving into southern Spain, but seemed to favor them over the Christian Visigoths, who were quasi, I guess, Roman Catholics in the northern parts of Europe. And the Jews favored them because the Jews thought that the Muslims respected them not only in theology, but respected them as people who had a skill in marketing and commerce. That the Muslims, and through Islam and Sharia, also practice a system of Sharia, which it said, if you look at it, it's a court system. You would be heard. And the Jewish scholars of the time said that they thought they were treated fairly in courts, although not necessarily always in their favor, but they were all the same treated. At least they were heard. The other thing that was brought into the picture of comparisons of why the Jews might be better off in the Islamic world of that time was the economic commerce. The Christians were pointed out to be land-holding and believing that only people with land had something of value, whereas the Jews and also the Muslims, through the tradition of Muhammad, dealt as traders and marketers. The Christians thought of those people who did not own land as serfs, and they probably shouldn't own land. So there is a difference in the treatment there. This coexistence then was also prospered by the Islam religion, in that it said that everybody can be protected provided they pay a dues. They actually called it a poll tax. So when anybody was settling in the Muslim or Islamic world area, if they paid their dues to the caliphs and to the elders, they would be protected with the same rights as others, although it certainly would look more like a second-class status. What the other people were not supposed to do with the Islam in charge was to overtly or practice the religions, build churches, and so forth. They could do it privately, but not openly. So anyway, these are things that I'm grappling with, concerned about the future of America, future of our communities. This question of coexistence. What is the challenge for us? Is it the challenge of looking at how we handle theology? The challenge of how we view economics and trade? The challenge of how we view maybe paying taxes for services? Or is it a fundamental challenge of looking into our hearts and seeing where our beliefs are really in the others? And I leave those thoughts with you. Thank you.